grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
Really want a 17-year-old, but he can't. He an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old. So here it is, he at the gym, working out. He's showing up at the gym with them big old black legs.
Yes, I told that Shannon Sharpe, leave that white.
Two teams that call me on you say, what's your phone number, where you gonna be?
Who that?
Shut the f up.
Shannon Sharpe is heated after Monique clowned him hard during her stand-up set. And it wasn't light shade either. She led into his messy legal battle with that OnlyFans model who's suing him for a jaw-dropping $50 million. The clip of her roast is blowing up all over the internet. And Shannon, he's not laughing one bit. Insiders say he's feeling betrayed. He thought his A-list circle would stand by him, but instead they're ghosting or worse, laughing along. But fans aren't forgetting the real tea. Monique actually warned him months ago on Club Shay Shay. She told him straight up to stop messing with those young girls who only see dollar signs when they look at him.
You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl.
And what did Shannon do? He shrugged it off like it was nothing. And now look, his image is taking hit after hit. Even if he beats this lawsuit, it won't erase the damage. His $100 million podcast bag, shaky. Sponsors, backing out. And his so-called friends, they're falling back fast. So what exactly did Monique say that has Shannon so pressed now that her warning hit the nail on the head?
Yes, I told that Shannon Sharpe, leave that white.
And why is he mad at her? The one who tried to throw him a lifeline before it all exploded? Let's break it all down. Plenty of folks were stunned when the news dropped that Shannon Sharpe is facing a serious lawsuit. But Monique, she wasn't shocked at all. She tried to put him on game before, warning him that messing around with young women could land him in hot water. But Shannon, he brushed her off like she was just talking. Now that all this chaos with the OnlyFans model has blown up, fans have been dying to hear Monique's take. And she finally broke her silence during a recent stop on Cat Williams' Heaven on Earth comedy tour. And let's just say she did not hold back. Monique reminded everybody that she tried to warn Shannon, but he didn't want to hear it. From the sound of it, Monique's just voicing what a lot of people have been thinking. Shannon walked right into this mess on his own. To make things even messier, after news of the lawsuit went viral, an old clip from Monique's February 2024 appearance on Club Shay Shay started circulating again. In it, Monique told Shannon point blank he had no business. He's always been a lightning rod. Some folks ride hard for her real talk, while others say she's too blunt or comes off like she's preaching. But in Shannon's case, even the ones who usually roll their eyes at her are saying, she nailed it. She was clearly aiming her words straight at him during that interview, warning that his lifestyle and choice in women were a setup waiting to happen. But what did Shannon do? He laughed it off like it was a joke, sitting there giggling while still out here chasing after OnlyFans models like it's a hobby. Now, fast forward just 1 year. Shannon's ESPN deal is gone, his image is in shambles, and he might have to cough up millions behind this lawsuit. And now, people are hitting rewind on that interview and saying, yo, Monique called it before anyone else saw it coming. One fan even said, one thing about Monique, she'll make you laugh, but she ain't gonna lie to you. And they're not wrong. Monique peeped the red flags when nobody else was paying attention. Shannon Baldhead should have listened instead of cracking up like it was all a joke. Now look at him. One person online said he's about to be crying straight to the bank, and another wrote, Shannon Sharpe got exactly what was coming to him. And honestly, they might have a point. People don't know what kind of advice Shannon's been getting behind the scenes, but on his own show, he had not one, not two, but 3 guests tell him about his messy dating habits. Cat Williams, Monique, and even Lil Yachty all called him out right to his face. But despite the lawsuit drama getting dropped by ESPN and his reputation circling the drain, Shannon still doesn't seem to get it. And now, sources say he was livid after seeing Monique roast him during her comedy set. Word is, he's mad that she turned his situation into a punchline instead of keeping it private.
I was once dating this chick, right, Skip, and she was married, but she was getting a divorce. I knew I wanted her. I said, you know what? I'll pay for the divorce because I believe she was the one. That's what I did. I said, why you arguing about this? He wouldn't sign the papers. I said, why you arguing about this little bit of money? I gave her the money, filed the divorce because I believe. I keep it 100 with y'all here, Skip, but I did that.
But let's be real. Monique gave him that warning a long time ago, and he laughed in her face. Insiders say Shannon thought his celeb buddies would come rushing to defend him, but nobody really did. That silence, it says everything. Almost no one stepped up to vouch for his character, which makes people wonder what's really going on. At this point, most folks aren't feeling sorry for Shannon. They're saying this lawsuit is just the tip of the iceberg in a long line of reckless moves. A new clip of Shannon is going viral, and it's not a good look. On the April 30th episode of Nightcap, right in the middle of chatting about the 2025 NFL Draft, Shannon suddenly snapped. He looked off camera and straight up shouted, "Shut the F up," leaving fans stunned and confused. But that's just the beginning of the storm.
Two teams that call me, Ocho, say, what's your phone number? Where you gonna be?
Who that?
Shut the up.
Shannon's catching even more heat after a wild comment about his daughter's weddings. On a different episode of Nightcap, while talking with Ocho Cinco, Shannon casually said he'd cap each of his daughter's wedding budgets at $30,000, no exceptions. He even joked that they could just serve spaghetti and fried fish instead of anything fancy. Fans weren't laughing. What really set people off? The fact that this is the same man who reportedly offered an OnlyFans model $10 million to keep quiet and avoid a lawsuit. And folks haven't forgotten those leaked messages either, where Shannon allegedly admitted she was charging him $25,000 per cheek. Social media didn't hold back. One fan said this needed to happen. Now, everybody can see how much of a hypocrite Shannon really is.
And just one more thing about Mr. Sharpe. Not so sharp, clearly. It is my theory, just my opinion, my theory, not fact, my opinion. I think all of this RACE rhetoric that was in those text messages started with him. It started with him. It's becoming more and more clear to me, in my opinion, that he has a race fetish. He has a fetish for that type of dynamic. Think about it. This was a 19-year-old white woman when he met her. I don't know any 19-year-old white woman that's running around hollering about a big black baby and baby gravy. Shannon was a 54-year-old big black grown man from the backwoods of Georgia. Gravy sound like some he's familiar with. Big black babies, he probably seen a few in his day. Born in the backwoods of Georgia where he grew up with his grandma and all the other folks. But I just don't think that came from her. Now, is she repeating it back in those text messages? Yes, that's why he released her messages, not his. Peep that, okay? We haven't seen what his responses was. And I guarantee you, when they post those messages, y'all gonna see. All of that race started with him. It's a fetish. And he could only play that kind of stuff out with a young girl. He couldn't, like Monique was trying to tell him, get an older gal. Older gal ain't going for that. They was going to immediately know he was a freak and a weirdo. A 19-year-old don't know no better. That's why she repeated it back to him, because he said it to her first. Older men, that's why they tend to want to be with younger women. They're more impressionable. They can mold them. They can shape them to be what they want them to be. Do what they want them to do. You let him come to a 40 or 50-year-old woman talking about put a big black baby and baby gravy. We gonna be looking like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, that started with him. Mark my words, it's gonna come out. But that race stuff started with.
Another added, so he's out here ready to drop millions on a woman he barely knows but throws his own daughter a budget wedding with pasta and fried fish. That's wild.
Budget. You got a budget. I don't get whatever you do after that.
What number, I mean, I don't want to be in your business, but what number you said?
30,000.
Okay. So you can have a wedding with 30,000?
I don't know what you can have. I ain't the one getting married. I don't give a damn. Hey, They better go get one of them old hey, y'all from the South, y'all know about that fried catfish and spaghetti plate. Hey, I know somebody hooked that thing right on up. What they charge by the plate? $10.50 a head. Spaghetti, fried catfish, a piece of cornbread, and a styrofoam cup of sweet tea. That's all you get. Man, I'm not finna go, hey, just because they from, oh, hell no, man, I wish I might.
But it gets even messier. Fans are now digging into the leaked text between Shannon and Gabriella, the OnlyFans model, and calling out what they see as a disturbing dynamic. The messages suggest Gabriella used strange, racially charged language while talking to Shannon, and now people are accusing him of being involved in some kind of fetishized race play relationship. In one of the leaked messages, Gabriella tells Shannon she wants him to put a big black baby in her. But here's the twist. Shannon didn't release his side of the convo. Now fans are side-eyeing the whole thing, convinced this race play talk wasn't just random. They think it was his idea. After all, Gabriella is a paid worker, and folks believe she was just saying whatever he wanted to hear. And now even more receipts are popping up, showing Shannon's history with women has always been questionable. One old clip that's gone viral again shows Shannon saying he was so into a woman that he paid for her divorce money to help her leave her marriage. But that same man is giving his own daughter a tight wedding budget? Make it make sense. Then there's another video going around where Shannon shares a wild story about being with a different woman. And it got so explicit, even Deion Sanders was left speechless on camera. Just check the comments. Fans are dragging Shannon hard. A lot of them say this is exactly why they stopped tuning into the Shannon and Ocho show in the first place. They were tired of hearing him overshare all these weird bedroom stories. Nobody's trying to hear that, especially not from a man pushing 60. And now it's not just fans speaking up. Even major voices in the culture are calling him out. Dr. Umar came forward and said point blank, even if this lawsuit turns out to be a money grab, Shannon had no business messing around with a 19-year-old. On top of that, Gabriella allegedly refused to sign an NDA, and that alone should have had Shannon pumping the brakes. Red flag all day. At this point, people aren't feeling bad for Shannon at all, and they definitely don't think he should be mad at Monique for throwing a joke his way during her set. Let's not forget, she warned him. She sat on that Club Shay Shay interview and gave him real talk, woman to man, told him straight up that the road he was on would lead to trouble. But what did he do? He laughed, brushed her off like it was just jokes, and kept doing the same reckless stuff. Gabriella's hitting Shannon with a $50 million lawsuit, and the big question is, can he even afford that kind of payout? Right now, Shannon's estimated net worth sits around $30 million, according to celeb finance trackers. During his NFL days, he made about $22.5 million total, with his biggest bag being a $5 million deal from the Ravens, part of a 4-year, $13.8 million contract. These days, Shannon reportedly pulls in around $10 million a year. That's from a mix of podcast money, brand endorsements, media gigs, and his upscale cognac brand, Le Portier. But even with all that, he's still lagging behind his First Take co-host, Stephen A. Smith, who's sitting on a reported $45 million net worth. And Stephen A. just upped the gap even more. He locked in a massive 5-year deal worth $100 million, putting him right behind Tom Brady as one of the top earners in sports media. Meanwhile, Shannon was right there, inches from scoring his own $100 million deal, until this lawsuit turned everything upside down. Here's the wild part. Before Gabriella dropped her complaint, Shannon was deep in talks for a huge podcast empire deal. It would have bundled all his Shay Shay media properties, including Club Shay Shay, Nightcap with Chad Johnson, Club 520 Podcast, The Bubba Dub Show, and Humble Baddies, into one mega package. On April 18th, just 3 days before Shannon was officially named in Gabriella's lawsuit, Front Office Sports dropped a bombshell. Shannon was about to ink a deal worth a jaw-dropping $100 million, but now that deal is on ice. And if it slips through his fingers, it'll be a huge loss.
You would think that in the aftermath of all of these cases that's going on, that Shannon Sharpe or any black male celebrity for that matter will conduct themselves in a more responsible manner. So what do we know about this situation? According to Gabriella Zuniga, she met Shannon Sharpe at a gym in Los Angeles approximately 2 years ago, 2023. Now, Shannon alleges that he tried to present her with an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, which every celebrity should require from anyone they engage with. Well, guess what, Art? She decides she's not going to sign the NDA. That right there was a warning to Shannon Sharpe that this 19-year-old, who you shouldn't be dating anyway because of her age, because of her race, you need to end this. If she don't want to sign an NDA dating a celebrity, you know what that means. That means if this doesn't go her way, she's going to expose you. Shannon Sharpe should have ended it right there. The problem was she fit his type. Obviously, Uncle Shay Shay, he likes Caucasian women, as we all know, and he likes them very skinny, which I didn't know. And the reason I'm saying that is the pictures that are floating around the internet on Gabrielle Asu Ninjas is the pictures of a very petite Caucasian woman who, not being disrespectful when I say this, appears to be built like a 13, 14, 15-year-old child. And according to her, allegedly, Shannon Sharpe told her that if she would lose enough weight for him, he would buy her some artificial breasts. Now, that's very puzzling to me, Art, because she's already extra skinny, extra petite, no booty, no breasts, no nothing. Why would you want her to lose any more weight? So from that, we can gather that Shannon Sharpe's type is an extra pale, extra skinny Caucasian. He definitely don't like them 5'5", thick in the thighs like Dr. Umar. He don't want butter almond, he don't want butter pecan, he don't want fudge, cinnamon, mahogany. He don't even want African vanilla, African butterscotch, African lemonade. He wants them pale and skinny. I want them brown chocolate.
Meanwhile, the lawsuit is still hanging over his head like a storm cloud. And if Shannon ends up losing, fans are asking the real question. Has he even made enough money over the years to survive a $50 million payout? Now, to keep it all the way real, even if the case doesn't swing in Gabriella's favor, that doesn't mean she's walking away with $50 million. These types of civil lawsuits, especially ones involving serious allegations, are tough to win. Things get tricky when it comes down to blurred lines between what's consensual and what's not. There's a real possibility Shannon won't be found liable, and he might walk away without owing her a cent. But here's the catch. Even if he wins in court, the damage is already done. The public's seen the leaked messages, heard the audio of Shannon allegedly threatening to choke Gabriella. And now, folks can't unsee or unhear that. What makes this whole situation worse is how fast the industry is starting to distance itself from Shannon. Behind the scenes, insiders say sponsors are already backing out, quietly pulling ads from his shows and pressing pause on upcoming deals. Even some of the guests who used to show love on Club Shay Shay are now staying silent. Not a single one has come forward publicly to defend him. And let's not forget, Shannon was riding high just a few months ago. He was everywhere. Viral clips, meme-worthy moments, big interviews, and crossover episodes with A-list names. He was building a media empire, and fans were calling him the new face of sports talk. But all it took was one scandal to knock it all down like a house of cards. Now, instead of securing new shows, he's fighting to keep the ones he already has. His team is reportedly scrambling to do damage control. But with new clips and old receipts resurfacing every week, it's been a losing battle. People are questioning everything now, including how Shannon really operates behind closed doors. And the worst part? This might only be the beginning. Sources say there could be more women coming forward, with screenshots and stories that haven't even been made public yet. So while Shannon's team might be hoping this blows over, the streets are talking, And every day, the spotlight on him gets hotter. At the end of the day, companies like Disney don't care if you beat the case. They care if your name's blowing up for the wrong reasons. They care about headlines, viral drama, and public backlash. And right now, Shannon Sharpe is looking like a huge liability. Even if he walks away clean in court, a lot of brands are going to think twice before standing next to him again. Sure, it's possible Shannon could bounce back. He's got fans, a platform, and people love a comeback story. But let's be real. That road's going to be long and rocky. And the truth is, he did this to himself. He ignored real talk from folks like Monique and Cat Williams, stayed surrounded by yes men, and ended up deep in a mess he could have avoided from the jump. Getting caught up with a young OnlyFans model was mistake number one, not just because of the age gap, but because of the clear power imbalance and the messy racial undertones in their alleged relationship. Let's not pretend companies want that kind of scandal tied to their brand. They don't. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Shannon Sharpe still has a shot at bouncing back, or is his image already too far gone? And what about Monique? Is Shannon right to be mad she's using this for material? Or is it fair game since she warned him and he straight up laughed it off? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, and we'll catch you in the next one.